giving this icebreaker. Gentleman that's been in the Valley for 2 to 3 years and in our club for about 6 months now, 2 months now. Please welcome Tim.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. My name is Tim. You probably recognize me from my many appearances on Table Topics. But tonight I'll be giving my icebreaker speech. To prepare for this speech, I downloaded the official Icebreaker Level 1 project documentation from the Toastmasters website. It has some good information about how to give a speech, but it's not perfect. The problem is that it gave some information that I was not completely sure that I could even trust the manual. On page 6 here, it discusses how to organize your speech, and it gives 4 key elements of a good story that it wants you to talk about. The first one is interesting topic, and then it goes on to opening, the body of your speech, and then finally the conclusion. And it was this first item here, the interesting topic, that really threw me. The focus of your icebreaker speech is supposed to be you, and by you, of course, I mean me. But it's also supposed to be about an interesting topic. And as you'll see tonight, I'm not interesting at all. I'm actually very boring. And to prove that, I want to cover 3 elements from my very boring life that I'd like to share with you now. The first one is that I grew up in a very boring place called Montana. And not just anywhere in Montana, but in the area highlighted in the 1992 Academy Award-winning motion picture, A River Runs Through It, starring Brad Pitt, directed by Robert Redford. How many have seen A River Runs Through It? So you all already know how boring Montana can actually be. In the movie, a big part of the movie was fly fishing. And in fly fishing, you stand in the water for hours, and you hold a piece of wood and you just flick it back and forth in apparently an attempt to not catch any fish whatsoever. But fly fishing was actually too boring for my family. We did ice fishing instead. And in ice fishing, you actually drive out into the middle of the lake, sometimes with a pickup truck, and you cut a hole in the ice, and you set up a tent, and you sit there and wonder how long you can hold it before you have to walk across the lake to the outhouse that's along the shore. And you don't even get the satisfaction of flicking that rod back and forth, because all you do is you drop a string down in the hole and wonder if the fish froze to death because they're not coming up at all. That was my boring life in Montana. The second boring part of my life is my career, which is computer programming. And you've probably heard of a few computer programmers. I actually know many computer programmers, and they are invariably boring. The problem is, we don't have a lot to do. When you program, you sit down at a keyboard, and you write in a language that only has about 50 words in it. Programming language is very compact, and you keep using these 50 words over and over and over again all day long, every single day. And it starts to turn you into a very boring person if you weren't one already. Now you're probably thinking, Tim, computer programmers are the people who are building our future robot overlords, who are going to usher in a time of ease and comfort when all our jobs have been taken away. And that's completely true. But it won't be me who's doing that life of ease and comfort. You'll all be sitting on the beach. I'll be in a darkened room, typing away at the computer, loading up the next load of artificial intelligence that will bring a societal transformation to the masses. So once in a while, I'll also be eating a slice of cold pizza while I'm there. The third boring fact about my life is that I write books. Now, there are some exciting authors. You've probably heard of J.K. Rowling. Donald Trump's an author, so there's that. And there's also, of course, Multatuli, the famous 19th century Dutch satirist who wrote about the horrors of colonialization in Indonesia, which of course is a fantastic book. I'm not like those authors. I write books on computer programming. What a shock. And if you, unless you've written a book called Harry Potter and the Curse of the Computer Programmers, turns out you're not going to get onto the New York Times bestseller list. So these are the reasons I'm boring, and I feel that we should maybe, as a club, march right on down to the headquarters of Toastmasters and demand that they treat boring people and exciting people with equal merit. And if that doesn't work, I can always send in the killer robots.